Okay, another video today. We're on a roll. Hello, Internet, and my fellow Americans. My name is Colin Jones, and I am running to be President of the United States in 2028. Today's St. Patrick's Day, and I wanted to talk a really short time about it and what it means to me and what I think is really important about today. If you don't know, which is fine, St. Patrick's Day is a day celebrated by the Irish diaspora and a little bit by Ireland. Celebrating our culture, really. That's sort of the core of it. Of course, there is like a religious tradition associated with it, and much more nuanced history and context. But that's really sort of what the day is practically. My name is Colin, so that's an Irish name. Fun fact: Colin is the Anglicization, so like made English version of the Irish word coin. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. I unfortunately don't know Irish. Coin means puppy. It means whelpling, but that's kind of the context. So I will always joke and tell people that I am rather consternated and angsty that my mom named me Puppy. When you're 36 years old, you don't want to be thinking that your legal name means puppy. But I'm named Colin because I am half Irish. And I say half, but that's like more or less half. My family has like native ancestry. That's hard to like actually quantify because there are lack of records on both sides. But yeah, I'm named after actually in part Michael Collins. So Michael Collins was a revolutionary leader in Ireland. He fought against the British Empire to try to establish the Irish Republic. More or less, he was a radical Republican. And I follow a lot in his, at least like larger philosophical footsteps. So why is that important to me to talk to you about today? Well, I wanted to share a little bit about myself. This account is about a presidential campaign, and I like the principle of radical transparency, right? Like I want to be real with y'all. I want to cut out a lot of the pomp and circumstance, the show that establishment politicians run to try to obfuscate issues, but also, create a kind of artificial distance between us as citizens. I wanted to talk about what being Irish means to me, because it always has been extremely important to me ever since I started building my identity as like an adolescent. I'm half black, half Irish. That's how I phrase it. I don't typically say I'm half black, I'm half white, unless, I'm in the cultural context where people will just kind of be confused and think when I say I'm Irish, it means I or my mother are from Ireland, and we are about 3 or 4 generations removed from Ireland based on the records that we have. There's going to be a lot of people who just kind of cringe at the idea of me saying I am Irish. That's understandable from their perspective. The reason I take so much pride and I feel so much belonging in labeling myself Irish is because of people like my, partial namesake, Michael Collins. And this idea that part of what it means to be Irish, right, as part of your heritage, is about fighting for justice, fighting for radical justice, right? Fighting for equality and fighting for our rights and the rights of others to self-determine their future. There is an amazing creator on this app called Kaylee, and she did a much deeper dive into sort of what that means in terms of like how we think about ethnicities, how we think about ethnicities in this country, and sort of the mythology of race. If I can figure out how to do it on TikTok, I will just link her video because she is incredible and it's an incredible video. So in case this wasn't clear, this is one of my more like free form rambly videos. But the point kind of was a reminder to my fellow Americans of ancestry related to the Irish diaspora. Today's a great day to safely get drunk and have fun. But sometimes when we talk about being Irish in America, we sort of leave out the parts of it that are politically relevant to our existence today. To me, And I know to most folks in Ireland, to be Irish is not simply about the Green Isle, right? It's not simply about leprechauns or St. Patrick or really good beer. To be Irish is to fight for freedom and fight for equity and to stand up for those who don't have the power or the voice to stand up for themselves. And the thing I want to stress, because I haven't had a chance to talk about it yet, because I'm just starting out this platform, is that part of being Irish, and the thing I feel so at home in the identity of being Irish, is the opposition to colonialism, both new and old, and imperialism. All human beings deserve the same basic dignities. And any system that sets up itself in a way to oppress or reign tyranny over our fellows enslaves all of us in part. I didn't mean to turn this into a campaign video, really. I just kind of wanted to talk about being Irish, but I do think this is a good time to segue and talk about how, as president, something I want to push forward is the principle that the United States stands for human dignity. We haven't always, right? Like, we had slavery in this country. I am half black. I will talk about that more later, but that is a part of our history that we need to reckon with and recognize so that we can build better things tomorrow. I will hold our allies to account on this point. I will hold our internal forces to account on this point. I oppose, and Americans oppose, neocolonialism in all its forms. This is not something the average American wants to see. That is, we don't want to see people oppressed. We don't want to see tyranny in the world. When America has participated in those things, it's only to benefit the elite. It's only to benefit the oligarchs. It's only to benefit the bosses and the people who are trying to keep people like us out of power. This might be the first video I get a lot of very caustic comments on, and I understand. And I might not be ready for it. Who knows? Fun fact, I was never on the debate team in high school or college or anything like that, so the next couple of years is going to be interesting. But being Irish has always been a critical core part of my identity. It's always been something I have perhaps romanticized, but I've always held really important to me. And the first time that I'm in any kind of public capacity is this campaign. And I wanted to use today as an opportunity to talk about why being Irish is important to me, and hope that you have a fun and meaningful and safe St. Paddy's Day. Thank you so very much. And like I said, I wish you all the best. May the road rise to meet you, and may the sun be at your back. Thank you a lot, America. I'll talk to you more later.